Welcome to Beer's the Deal. It's just a little series of videos we're going to do to introduce beers in a layman's terms or a fan's terms, in this case Amber, or the more technical side, the brewer side.
I'm Amber and I work here at Copper Furrow behind the bar every day.
And I'm Nick Diehl, the brewer. That's where the cheesy name came from. This week we're going to do the Thresher, which is an American wheat beer. Go ahead and if you want to try yours and just tell me like what you're getting from it, aromatically, taste-wise, what you want, what you think you get. It's there's no wrong answer, by the way.
Okay. It's light. It's crisp. It has a refreshing aftertaste. The initial taste, I'd say it's a little bit citrusy. I can definitely taste like a bready flavor. Yeah, that's what I get from it initially.
Yeah.
It has a really faint aroma. It's not a very aromatic beer.
It's from a just a style standpoint, I would say a Hefeweizen aromatically is probably going to be one of the lower end in the spectrum in terms of beers. That's you're going to want to get a ton from. Yeah, as far as the bready, that's some people describe it as grainy, but bready is probably the more correct term. That's coming from the wheat, which there's over, I want to say it's about 60% wheat, which is not usual. Normally, most beers don't put any wheat, or you put just a little bit, and it has 60. This beer, that's what makes it a wheat, is that it has 60% wheat as part of the main grain bill. As far as the citrus goes, there's two different hops that I use in my wheat beer. I use a noble hop from Germany. Then the other hop that I use is Crystal, which is an American hop that does have a lot of citrus characteristics to it. It's probably the last hop that I add, so it's in the whirlpool, and that's the aromatics that you're getting there. In terms of body, it should be crisp, but it should also have a little bit, say, more weight than, say, like a pale ale. A pale ale should dry out a little bit more. Part of that is the proteins that are more prevalent in wheat than they are in barley. So that's part of the reason why a wheat beer is usually not very clear. It should have some haze to it because proteins will put haze in a beer.
I like it. It's an easy drinking beer. You can sit and have 2 or 3 and not feel super full from it, not feel like you've drank over your limit.
I should state that this recipe was actually something that my partner David probably that was a recipe that he spent a ton of time developing. Like the wheat beer for him was super important, and it was his wife's favorite beer. So this is definitely David's beer, and I just tried to replicate what he was doing at home.
What's the purpose of serving it with an orange?
So that's kind of that's more of an American thing. German Hefeweizens are served with a lemon, and is somewhat common. And for some reason, we get occasionally people ask for a lemon, but in the U.S., most people want an orange. I'm not exactly sure about the origination of it, but it's definitely, a lot of places do that, and we decided it was something that we would offer people. And while you should be asked, we find that most people say yes. So a lot of times we put it on the glass, and you can decide whether you want to put it in there or not. Some people don't want it at all. They just want the beer flavor. They don't really want the citrus. But you brought up citrus earlier, and that's just another way to bring in the citrus. When David did it on a homebrew scale, we would actually, and he would do most of it, but we'd just get the pith or zest it, and then put that in the keg so that you would have the orange already with it. He did this especially with his wit, but the amount of zest we would have to do a 10-barrel batch, I would have to hire an entire crew of people, and they would take like 3 days to zest like a ton of oranges to make it the same equivalency in the 10-barrel batches.
Usually, if I'm behind the bar and a customer comes in asking for a light beer, or like you mentioned earlier, beer flavored beer.
Yeah.
I would recommend the wheat to them just because it's just a regular, like for most people, it's a beer flavored beer. It's what they want. It's what they're used to. They can get it home easily.
Yeah.
They are used to getting wherever they go. So
I think the technical term might be approachable.
approachable, that's a great term
Yeah.
actually. That's a great term.
So thanks for watching our video and learning a little bit about our wheat beer. Join us next time when we do another beer for Beer's the Deal.